Well, well, well. We have made it to draft day. This is my favorite day of the year. I am so excited to see what all is going to happen, who your team is going to pick. And, if you guys like the draft, once again, leave a like and subscribe. And I just want to thank you guys so much. I mean, I know the NFL offseason is a bit boring, and, there's only two main big parts, which is free agency and then the draft. But listen, I appreciate you all sticking around here. I know this is not the most optimal time to start this channel, but I promise you, we're going to do a lot more fantasy football stuff after this because we know where everyone's going to be pretty much, and we're going to have a lot of fun. But now it's time for the final predictive mock draft, and let's figure out exactly, how smart I am. So I think let's just get started here. And I feel like the first three picks are going to be pretty easy. Cam Ward going number 1, Travis Hunter going number 2, and Abdul Carter going number 3. I think that those three are pretty much absolutely locked in, and they're the best three players in the class, besides, I guess, Ashton Jeanty. But Cam Ward's the best quarterback. You got to take him if you're the Titans at number 1. And then Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. Those are the two best players in the class, alongside of Ashton Jeanty. And speaking of Ashton Jeanty, we are not going to pick him to the Patriots. I do see a lot of rumors saying that he's going to go here. But as GM Dom myself, I'm going to go with Will Campbell. I think that the offensive tackle position is just a lot more of a need for this Patriots team. I mean, look at what the Chargers did. The Chargers had the chance to make the flashy pick and go Malik Neighbors, or even go with maybe like Rome Odunze or someone else, but they decided to shore up the offensive tackle position for a guy who is absolutely elite. And I think that Will Campbell could also be one of these guys. And now here at 5, I'm going to make the move that will break fantasy football if this happens. I'll get into it more later, but if Ashton Jeanty goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, it will break fantasy football. And the reason is because you have such a loaded class of running backs, and you look at the teams who could possibly have new starters at the end of this year, that could be rookies: Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jags, Raiders, Saints even, Bears, because they don't like DeAndre Swift, Cowboys, what else have we got? Cardinals, James Conner, Broncos, Steelers, Chargers, maybe Vikings, and then Washington Commanders, and even Chiefs. So that's about like 8 or 9 teams that could have starting running backs. And so basically, having all of these good backs in this draft will just make it so easy for these teams to plug and play these guys, and it'll make fantasy football so much more fun, and the draft, rookies will be flying off of rookie drafts in Dynasty. And then now the Raiders' plan got taken, so they're just going to go BPA. They're going to go Mason Graham. I can see them trading down too, but I don't see who would trade up for any of these players. But I think Mason Graham here at 6 makes the most sense. And same thing with the Jets. It's kind of the betting favorite, and that's going to be Armand Membou. And Armand Membou, once again, super solid offensive tackle and is the second best in this class. The Jets desperately need a right tackle on the other side of Olu Fashanu, and I think Membou's that guy. Pulling up at number 8, it's the pick that I've always been making for the Panthers. Literally the Brian Burns replacement. He can do everything on this defense, and that's a guy that the Panthers desperately need. They have pretty much zero talent on that defense besides J.C. Horn and Derek Brown. And even that's like okay talent. Jalen Walker is an elite level linebacker and an elite level edge rusher. You can use him in so many different ways. Now the New Orleans Saints, what do they do here? I think Shedeur Sanders is absolutely falling off of a cliff. And the reason for that is why I'm going to take Mykel Williams here. Sure, that edge group, Brian Brzee was not good on the defensive line. It was a bad pick. And I feel like they're going to want to get someone else on the defensive line. Cam Jordan is super old now, not good enough. They need someone who's a dominant edge rusher. And I think Mykel Williams is going to be that guy. Now, the Chicago Bears sitting here at 10. The betting favorite has them taking Tyler Warren. I do not know why they would take Tyler Warren. I think Cole Kmet is still a young, sporadic, and good tight end. I'm going to take Omarion Hampton. I take him in a lot of my drafts, and I think the Bears are going to shock people. People forget this is the same GM that both booted, not GM, the same coach that both booted DeAndre Swift out of the offense and also drafted Jahmyr Gibbs when he was projected to be a second rounder. It may not be Hampton, but he is by far the second best running back in the class. And if the Bears don't get Ashton Jeanty, do not be surprised if they go Omarion Hampton. The 49ers desperately need like a D tackle, a corner, a linebacker. I'm going to go Will Johnson here. I think Will Johnson has had the potential to be a top 5 pick, but the injuries piled up on him in the middle of the season, and it really affected his stock. But for me, it does not affect his stock at all. I love Will Johnson here. We get to the Dallas Cowboys, and here is where I'm going to be taking Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden. I've been having Tetairoa McMillan fall a lot in my drafts because I think the only person who's going to be taking a receiver tonight in the top 12 is the Dallas Cowboys. And I think they're going to go with the Texas man rather than the big body Tetairoa McMillan because I feel like he will complement CeeDee Lamb better than Tet McMillan will. And then at 13, the Dolphins here desperately need an offensive lineman. I would love for them to take a safety here, but they just can't. So I'm going to go with Kelvin Banks Jr., who I think is the consensus third best offensive lineman in this class. And barring he doesn't go to the Bears or the Niners, the Dolphins will be super happy with this pick and will make this pick any day of the week. Kelvin Banks here at 13. The Colts, once again, easy pick, Tyler Warren. I think Tyler Warren goes on a little bit of a fall, doesn't get taken top 10, but I think he's going to be one of the steals of this draft. Tyler Warren is an unbelievable player, unbelievable talent, and I think that he'll fit perfectly into this Colts offense and help Anthony Richardson to be a better version of himself. 15, Mike Green out of Marshall. I think that this is the absolute perfect spot for Mike Green. Not too overrated, but not too underrated. 15 to the Falcons. They desperately need an edge rusher, and I think that this could be the spot where they get it. Now, the Cardinals' betting favorite is to take a defensive lineman. I could also see them taking safety, even though they already have Budda Baker, but I'm not going to have them doing that. I'm actually going to have them go to the cornerback Jahdae Barron. I think that in the slot they are fine, but I feel like in the rest of the secondary, they are absolutely terrible. And do I trust this corner class or this edge class farther down the board? Like, if I'm the Arizona Cardinals and I need a definite need at both of these, I see a guy like Landon Jackson, J.C. Tuimoloau, even like a guy like Josiah Stewart or Jack Sawyer. I'm cool taking those guys in the next couple of rounds. But the cornerbacks, like, I'm cool taking Trey Amos, Siobhan Revell, Hairston, Azariah Thomas, Darian Porter. But other than that, like, there's not many guys I'd be taking here. Maybe Kobe Bryant, but I'm not too sold on any of these other corners more than I am on the edge rushers. So I'm going to go Jahdae Barron here. Which leaves the Bengals at a prime spot to take Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. Once again, he's an athletic freak. I think the Bengals will go crazy for that. Maybe even trade away Trey Hendrickson in this draft. But I don't know. Shamar Stewart here at 17 is where I'm going to go. Seattle Seahawks, they will probably go an offensive lineman too. It's just a matter of which one. You have Josh Simmons, Josh Connolly Jr., Ariante Ursary, Tyler Booker, Gray Zabel. I'm going to go Gray Zabel. Once again, he's just a guy who can play anywhere on the line, and Gray Zabel is pretty much a surefire talent pretty much anywhere else you want to put him. So I'm going to take Gray Zabel right here and move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I believe it's all over minus 1,000 that Jihad Campbell goes here. I really like the fit, and I really think that the Buccaneers will be very happy getting Jihad Campbell here. Now, the first 19 picks, I think are going to be pretty straightforward. I think that all of these teams have pretty much needs that they aren't willing to trade down with. Maybe the Bears trade up, but I don't think any of these teams in the top 6 will trade down. Maybe the Falcons could trade down. But I see a lot of teams keeping their picks here. The one team I don't see taking their pick here is the Denver Broncos. Now, it has been no secret due to the rumors that the Browns and the Giants are desperate to trade up to get Jackson Dart in the first round. So the real question is, where do they trade up? I think they trade up here at 20 with the Broncos, just because I feel like the other teams before him will be reluctant to trade down because of their glaring holes in their roster. And because the Seahawks have a shit ton of picks. I don't think they're going to trade down. But maybe the Buccaneers do. But I think the Broncos don't have a lot of draft picks. Their biggest need is running back and wide receiver, which are good down the board. So I think that they're going to be trading down here. Now the real question is, which is going to be the team to trade up? Is it going to be the Giants or is it going to be the Browns? Now, I have a couple reasons for choosing my New York Giants. And that's going to be over just, oh, you're a Giants fan, you're biased, you think they're going to trade up over the Browns. You think the Browns are going to have better competition. No. Here is the issue with the Browns. They're already paying Deshaun Watson. Their draft capital for the last 3 years was very limited because of that trade. And I think they've realized how detrimental to their franchise that trading for Deshaun Watson was. And I don't think that the Browns are going to be, I guess, aggressive enough to trade up to number 20, unlike the Giants are. The Giants they have a good core around Russell Wilson right now. Malik Nabers is a number 1. 2 okay tight ends. An offensive line that's serviceable now as long as Andrew Thomas stays healthy. You have one of the best defenses in the league now with Abdul Carter. So I think that the Giants will be willing to give up more than the Browns will to move up to draft a quarterback. And that quarterback is going to be Jackson Dart. And they're going to jump the Steelers, who also need a quarterback. And I think it just makes more sense. I feel like the Browns will not be ready to make that type of a move for a quarterback. I think they're just going to kind of sit back and hope Jackson Dart falls to like 25, 26, but I don't think he will because the Giants will jump up and take the opportunity to get him right before the Steelers. So where does this leave the Steelers? Shedeur Sanders ain't too much of a bad pick. I think that the Steelers definitely need a quarterback. They didn't trade for DK Metcalf just to have Mason Rudolph throw him the ball. They're going to take a quarterback. They need to take him. And Aaron Rodgers is still being a little bitch and holding out. And not holding out, but like he's not signing. So I think that the Steelers are kind of forced into a corner here to take another quarterback around the same spot they took Kenny Pickett. And they stopped the Shedeur slide right here at 21. Which leaves the Chargers. I took Tetairoa McMillan in my last rebuild. I'm going to take Colston Loveland in this rebuild because I think that Jim Harbaugh likes his tight ends. They have no tight ends on that roster right now. And when you have a guy from Michigan and who is an absolute freak on the offensive line as well as a receiver, I think that they pull the trigger on him immediately. Which is amazing news for the Packers because they take Tetairoa McMillan. Like, they don't think he's going to be here, but getting an alpha number 1 receiver at 23, a guy who is projected even to go maybe like top 7 or 6, and now he's here at 23, the Packers are in love with him. I feel like it's not as much as a receiver fall as it is more like these teams don't need receiver. Like, I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. was drafted last year. Drake London, breakout. They need tight end more. Jamar Chase, JSN Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, quarterback, tight end over receiver. I think they're fine with it. Which leaves the Vikings to take Malachi Starks here at 24. I love the safety pick. Malachi Starks is an unbelievable safety, and I think he's the best safety in the class. And Harrison Smith's getting up there in age. The secondary isn't as good as it was before. And I think that Malachi Starks makes perfect sense here for the Vikings at 24. Which leaves the Houston Texans here. We're kind of having a little bit of a Derek Harmon slide, but we can't take him just yet. We're going to take we took Gray Zabel. We're going to take Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Without that season-ending injury, this guy would have been at least a top 15 pick, I feel like. But after Josh Simmons and Tyler Booker, this offensive tackle class, and Josh Connerly Jr., but after that, this offensive tackle class is not as good as it was last year. Last year, the tackle class was unbelievable. Now, this year, it's not great. The LA Rams, there's a lot of talk about the LA Rams. Don't really know what they're going to be doing here. It's really interesting. I do have them going secondary, and I have them going Trey Amos. And once again, I just think Trey Amos is a solid corner. He is supposed to go at the top of the second round, maybe mid-second round. I have him going first. And I think that he'll slot in and be a good number one corner on this defense. I think their offense is set, and they just need a corner. The Baltimore Ravens, let's get another big body offensive lineman and go Tyler Booker. Let's make this offense and double down and make this offense something that you never want to see. And I think it's good. I think that, adding Tyler Booker to this offense makes Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson unguardable. And I mean, they were last year, but I think it's going to be even better this year. And maybe Lamar actually wins his second MVP, even though Josh deserved it. And now the Detroit Lions. Derek Harmon is still going to fall because I feel like teams are going to be like, wow, look at this defensive tackle class. Do I want to spend an early first on Derek Harmon or Walter Nolan? Or do I want to grab a guy like Alfred Collins, Darius Alexander, Shamar Turner, Ty Robinson later in the round? I think that people are going to want to take a defensive tackle later. Derek Harmon will get taken soon. Not by the Lions. I have him taking James Pierce Jr. I think that he has fallen super far, and had he not had the character concerns, he'd be top 20. And if we did this mock last year, he would have been top 10. I think that James Pierce has incredible talent and will accompany Aiden Hutchinson really, really well. And that leaves the Washington Commanders, and I actually have them taking what I think is going to be a BPA pick, and I have them taking Nick Emenwari. I know that their secondary is not good, and they'd rather probably have a corner. I'm pretty sure didn't they just get like some sort of safety though? But I think you see an athletic freak such as Nick Emenwari here, and I don't think you could pass up on him. And once again, he will be a staple in this Washington defense. I think your offense is pretty much done now with the addition of Deebo Samuel. You could get a running back, but I don't see it, and I think that Nick Emenwari is going to be the pick here. I've been going pretty tame in this draft. I don't think the Bills are still going to trade back. I'm going to go Derek Harmon here at 30. And once again, he had a massive fall, and the Bills are super happy to get him here. They probably would go corner, maybe Siobhan Revell or Maxwell Hairsteen. But with Derek Harmon here on the board, I think it's an obvious pick for them right here. The Chiefs here at number 31. They could use another defensive tackle, maybe going Walter Nolan, but they could also use offensive tackle. And I'm going to have them going offensive tackle Josh Connolly Jr. And the reason why is the Philadelphia defensive line murdered them in the Super Bowl, and there was nothing that they could do about it. So that is where you need to focus your team. You already just got rid of Joe Thuney as well. Your left tackle's coming off of a season-ending injury, and Juwan Taylor is hot ass. So let's just get Josh Connolly Jr., a superstar tackle who I think could lead this Chiefs team, and call it a day. And the Eagles, like I do in pretty much every draft, they're going to be taking an edge rusher. So the real question is, who's it going to be? Nick Scorton or Donovan Iziriaku? I'm going to go with Donovan. And the reason I go with Donovan is because I just have more faith in him than Nick Scorton. I mean, Nick Scorton fell behind his Texas A&M's teammate, Shamar Stewart, despite Stewart only having 4 sacks in his college career. I get the athleticism. It's also the reason why I have Mike Green and Michael Williams and Jalen Walker over Shamar Stewart, because at least they had production in college. But it's a bad look for Nick Scorton, I have to say. I hope you guys enjoy the draft tonight. I hope that my picks are actually I think it's going to be tough, especially with the trade. I don't think there's going to be too many trades in this class. I think let's set the over-under 14.5 picks correct. I think I can get just over half of this draft correct, especially because I think the first 3 picks are an absolute lock, and Will Campbell is like a 95%er. So enjoy the draft tonight. I will be... the suit wasn't just for the GM bit. I'm going to be out tonight, so I will not be live streaming the draft. I will not be watching the draft, the only draft, but I will have it in my ear tonight. But yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy the next 3 days. It's going to be absolutely insane. Peace out.